President Bola Tinubu consults on National Assembly leadership. The Nigerian leader also holds meetings on key sectors with security topping the list. Getting the ideal Nigeria on track may need some fuel of resolve and a wide buy-in as the nation confronts new realities. The Inter-Party Advisory Council and other relevant groups also seek clarification on the long-term plan for the petroleum industry. Also on political update today, the battle for the gavel in the National Assembly is not letting up as decision day moves ever closer. Lobbying is going on in different lobbies as agenda is openly displayed on the veranda of influence. I'm Fisai Ogunfuyi. Welcome. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu this Friday announced the appointment of Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila as Speaker of the House of Representatives as Chief of Staff, who will operate from the Office of the President, while Ibrahim Adija will operate as Deputy Chief of Staff from the Office of the Vice President. Also announced as the Secretary General of the Federation is the immediate past Minister of Special Duties and former Governor of Benue State, Senator George Akume. Senate President Ahmed Lawan has dispelled stories that he has indicated interest to run again for the headship of the Red Chamber in the 10th Assembly. The senator spoke to State House correspondents, and he said his role now is mentoring the new national lawmakers and ensuring that the right personalities emerge as leaders of the next assembly.
I've never indicated an interest to run, but I have a responsibility to the Senate, to the National Assembly, having been in the National Assembly for almost 24 years now. And when we have about 70% of our members of the National Assembly, especially in the Senate, who are new, those of us that have been there longer, owe everybody that responsibility to at least help in mentoring those who are new, even if we have no presiding officer or principal officer position. And I don't really wish to be one. I've played my part, and I'm happy that we have played our part. We have made our impact, very positive impact. Of course, we had our shortcomings, but I can hold my head high on behalf of all my colleagues in the Senate and indeed in the National Assembly, that this National Assembly has helped in national development in no means major, because we have succeeded in getting very critical and crucial legislations passed and assented to by the former president.
I'm talking about the leadership of the Senate. Some political groups from the southern part of the country have expressed their views on the endorsement of Senator Godswill Akpabio as APC's candidate for the Senate presidency in the 10th Assembly.
In a press briefing in Abuja, the coalition of Southeast APC support groups described Senator Akpabio as a candidate with required experience, exposure, expertise and competence to preside over the 10th Senate and indeed the National Assembly.
Senator Godswill Akpabio is a detribalized Nigerian, an urban figure, a cosmopolitan personality, and a pan-Nigerian. As a 2-time governor of Akwa Ibom State, he delivered. As a senator, he delivered. And as a minister, he equally delivered on the ministry's mandate of former President Muhammadu Buhari's vision.
Meanwhile, a coalition of concerned Niger Delta stakeholders also in a press briefing in Abuja disassociate itself from the endorsement of the former governor of Akwa Ibom State as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress for the position of the Senate President of the 10th National Assembly.
The floor should be left open for senators to meet among themselves, void of any form of interference from any arm of the government or any political party whatsoever. We frown and dissociate from any anointed candidate, again, by any political party whatsoever. We need a more transparent, actionable, a square peg in a square hole, a man that will say, I will do this for my people, and that will be done.
Another group known as South-South Women Compatriots is also urging the All Progressives Congress APC to reconsider the choice of Senator Godswill Akpabio for the position of the President of the Senate of the 10th National Assembly.
Such person with baggages of corruption, allegations, has no business in the National Assembly. This is the time for the Red Chamber to have men and women who focus and mission is to rescue the nation.
The women are also of the opinion that the office of the President of the Senate is politically sensitive and requires a person of impeccable character to occupy. This, they say, will account for an effective representation and coordination for the sustenance of Nigeria's democracy.
Now to the meat of the matter, President Bola Tinubu made a number of key statements during his inaugural address indicating the direction of state under his presidency, with key sectors of the nation's economy poised to experience significant changes in the approach to service delivery. But to fully entrench this new thinking, a synergistic interaction with the legislature is equally required, hence the jostling for key jobs in the red and green chambers. PDP's Ikenga Imogochinyere Ikiagwonu, member-elect of Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State, joins us today. Thank you very much for joining us on Political Update.
Thank you for having me.
Now, it seems the opposition will have a huge say in who wields the gavel in the 10th Assembly. What are the considerations?
Yes, what we call greater minority of a combination of people from PDP, from NMPP, from Abuja, from Labour Party, that brought our number slightly by 2 or 3 above that of APC. But in terms of measurement by parties, APC still maintains majority. But when we opposition come together, we have a simple majority. But that having been said, the opposition was unable to throw up a candidate because most members of the opposition felt that this should be left for the ruling party so that we do not have an internal leadership crisis that might hamper the harmonious relationship between the executive and the legislatures in delivering on their next level agenda.
Let me stop you briefly while we work on your audio a little bit. But let's take one of the issues that have also emanated from this week. The National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress and the progressive governors have agreed to work out urgent palliatives to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal. We'll take that report, then we'll come back to you.
It is the first interactive session after the general elections with the progressive governors led by its newly appointed chairman, Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. As the governors prepares for governance, national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Adamu, reminded them to pay attention to priority areas in line with the party's manifesto and promise made to the electorate.
You live with the people, you wake up with the people, and you work with them. The expectation is that you will have a better appreciation of their pulse points as citizens of this country. So a lot of expectations will be with you as governors of the federative units of this great country.
So on the issue of fuel subsidy, all the presidential candidates during the campaign all promised that they would remove fuel subsidy. The incumbent government, before he left, made us to know that fuel subsidy is no longer sustainable. What we are talking about now is implementation process, how to implement the program in a manner that it will not be too hard on the people. And I think the government is working on it. I have confidence on the ability of the president, the current president, to navigate through the waters and take decisions that will be to the best interest of our people.
Okay, we'll go back to the subsidy issue soon, but we need to, set a template for this discussion, and we're just talking about the majority in the House and the fact that, the opposition parties, putting all of you together, would wield a lot of influence in terms of determining who will be handling the gavel in the 10th Assembly. So we are trying to do a breakdown. So let's return to that, Ugochinyere.
So, like I said, when combined together, the opposition have slight majority, but most members of the opposition came together to form what they call the joint task force that cuts across all parties, both in the PDP, PDP, NMPP, Abuja, Labour Party, and then the APC. and they came together to say, okay, let's work together to find a leadership that will be able to carry everybody along. And you'll not be seeing the surprise that you had in 2015 when the opposition party then produced aligned with the APC to produce the Senate President and the Speaker, and then they took the deputy position. But in this case, all the position is likely going to go to the APC because the opposition is not bidding for it this time.
All right. What's the reason behind that?
I think they consider the fact that going by what happened in 2015, there was a lot of strained relationship between the executive and the legislature that hampered most of the bills that were passed by the legislature not being assented by the executive, and some of the budget provisions not being funded. They felt that it is good to allow the government to take off so that they will have nobody to blame once they kick the ground running.
All right, let's now put some things in perspective. Now, this assembly will be entering the stage at the time. Tough decisions, soul searching, and some confrontations won't be far away from the table. Are you guys prepared?
Very prepared, and that's why I don't want people to understand the National Assembly working relationship that cuts across party lines now. The reason is for us to have a stable leadership, but that will not compromise the issues that the Constitution has given to the Parliament to do, which is to provide checks and balances. So when those tough decisions come, we're going to make it, and make it without looking back.
All right, you were just talking about, the nature of opposition we'll be having. We will not be seeing opposition for opposition's sake this time. Perhaps it will be played around the issue, it will be issue-based, and perhaps also in the best intention of the nation. But now that you're already even meeting before the assembly is fully convened, what is the direction right now? What are the things you need to do to hit the ground running, even as an assembly?
That is why when we had our first meeting, first was to look at the APC zoning formula on the principal position, especially in the House of Representatives, that have Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kano as the favored candidates from the ruling party. Why we decided to accept that is that, first of all, we looked at the zoning formula and the element of inclusiveness that it provides. And also, more importantly, we looked at competence. That is very important that you have presiding officers that have legislative competence. You have a speaker nominee, Tajuddin Abbas, that has sponsored 74 bills. And out of that 74 bills, 21 have been signed into law by the president. And then you have Benjamin Kano that has sponsored over 43 bills, out of which over 2 have been signed into law. So we looked at that competence, that stability, that team player spirit as what we need for us to be able to deliver on the agenda. And the agenda of the 10th House of Representatives is building a people's parliament that will use the instrument of the parliament to solving critical national problems. As we listen to the president when he talks about unity, oneness, you cannot have unity without political stability. That is why we have to take a look at how do we have political stability, political inclusiveness. What about rotation of power among in the national election, the national and governorship election? We're going to talk about devolution of powers. We're going to talk about health reforms. I don't see why federal government should be involved in primary health care system that should be left for local government system. That is why we'll have to find a way to restore the autonomy of the local government system to make it work. Some of these things, when we do it using the instrument of the parliament, will help to provide national stability and national unity. And without national stability and national unity, you cannot deliver on the renewed hope that the president has promised.
All right, we will still come to touch a few of the issues you have raised. But in terms of, what you are coming into the house to do on a personal level now, you must have a bucket list from your constituents. You are coming newly. Of course, we recognize this, your red cap and the satellite on top from your days in CUPP and all that. But what are you coming in for this time, as in terms of the wishes of your people?
They are very numerous. First of all, when I was talking with you talked about coming down to that, or you saw the road that connects us. The bridge is no longer there. We have to follow the bush path to be able to make it to Ubele and then down to Akokwa. That is a big problem, and the rainy season is there with us. Then we have another major problem. We have been in darkness for the last 10 years. We are no longer connected to the national grid, especially down from Umuchima to Akokwa to Obodukwa and so on and so forth. We will be seeking the intervention of the federal government as a matter of urgent national importance to connect it back to the national grid grid and ensure that our communities are going to have light. Then we have issue of water. We don't have access to quality drinking water. How do we have a regional water scheme in Idato to be able to allow our people to have access to water? More importantly is the issue of security. Down from Amuchima down to Arondizog, most of these communities are being deserted because of the activities of non-government. How do we restore security so that our people can go back to farm? If you go around Okigwe, Onimo, Umulo, Arondizog, our people do a lot of farming, but people are no longer farming because of their activities of kidnappers or non-government and different groups. And that means that we also have to find a lasting solution. Apart from using the stick approach, the carrot approach, how do we resolve the Igbo question? How do we resolve the agitation issues that must have led to some insecurities and activities that are unhealthy for our people to build business? We'll be hoping that the new president will be able to sit down with Igbo leaders for us to find a way to provide, discuss these issues and be able to resolve most of these issues, which if you do restructuring, if you do devolution of powers, some of these issues might be resolved and the grievances will no longer be there so that peace and security can come to our land.
All right, just before I took you up on one or two of those questions, we briefly touched some of the issues of the moment, talking about the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress meeting the progressive governors and working out palliatives. Talking about that again, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, PLC, Mele Kyari says President Bola Tinubu has given directive for stakeholders engagement to put in place palliatives to cushion the effects of the removal of subsidy. After a closed-door meeting with the leadership of the governing APC at the party's headquarters in Abuja, the NNPC Limited boss said there's an ongoing process of rehabilitating the nation's 4 major refineries, one of which will be fully operational this year.
It's an ongoing process of rehabilitation. One of them will come on stream this year, and the second one will come on stream next year, and then the third one will follow that. Everyone will be able to have access to foreign exchange, and there's a transition going on now, and NNPC cannot continue to be the sole importer. So we know that this is going to vanish. The market will stabilize this.
Meanwhile, the General Assembly of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, is urging the federal government and stakeholders on the rationale behind the removal of subsidy to put in place palliative measures to cushion the effect on the citizens.
There are representatives of the 18 registered political parties in Nigeria. As a partner in progress, IPAC in its last General Assembly of May 17, 2023, approved the constitution of a technical committee to set an agenda for the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration in order to assist in managing some challenges confronting the nation. IPAC Chairman Yabagisani explained that the council will make public its robust agenda for the new administration. On the issue of subsidy, government is advised to set up a forensic inquiry on the subsidy regime to unravel the secrecy and obvious perception of large-scale corruption in the sector, Yabagi emphasized.
In this scenario, the removal of subsidy in a product as central as petrol will no doubt increase the cost of goods and services and further worsen the living conditions of Nigerians. Government should also address the issue of oil theft, metering of the sector infrastructure, while pursuing fiscal policy measures to progressively manage the economic interventions.
Council called for the understanding of Nigerians while government intensifies efforts towards putting in place requisite palliative measures to cushion the effects of the new subsidy regime.
Moving on now, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has tendered certified true copies of Form EC8A electoral documents from 6 states at the Presidential Election Petition Court, alleging electoral malpractice in the conduct of the February 25, 2023 presidential election. The legal team of respondents, however, objected to the admissibility of the documents.
Form EC8A is also known as the Statement of the Poll Result from Polling Units. A Thursday sitting of the Presidential Election Petition Court, Counsel to Peter Obi and Labour Party, Awa Kalu, tendered these forms from 6 states. These include those from 23 local government areas of Benue, 18 local government areas of Cross Rivers, 21 local government areas of Niger State, and 20 local government area of Osun State. Others include 16 local government areas of Ekiti, and 15 local government areas of Rivers State. Respondents' counsel vehemently opposed the admissibility of all the documents tendered and admitted in evidence in the petition by the court, saying they will give their reasons before or during their final written addresses. The court adjourned till Friday for Peter Obi's legal team to tender more documents or call more witnesses.
To us too, that INEC would be attacking their own documents, processes that emanated from them.
Meanwhile, hearing of the petition filed by Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party also continued, with 3 witnesses testifying on behalf of the petitioners. All of them were states PDP INEC accredited agents in the 25th February 2023 presidential election, who adopted their written statements and cross-examined. They head on to their allegations of manipulation of election results, claiming they witnessed alteration of results in many polling units and were either forced to sign result sheets or declined to sign at the state collation centers. Respondent counsel countered their stand by putting it to them that it was not possible for them to witness what happened in all the polling units deposed to in their statements within the election period. The Presidential Election Petition Court adjourned to 2nd June 2023 for continuation of hearing of the petition.
As we get close to the last line on political updates, we still have Gochiere right here. You've held positions, in appointive positions. This is your first elected position. How do you feel? Because this time it's not just your boss, because all your constituents are your bosses now.
Yeah, I think the method that I'll be using in delivering what my people want this time around will be completely different from the method I use in delivering opposition messages. This time around there will be need for collaboration, for engagement, for diplomacy, for conviction, for lobbying, to be able to deliver on the numerous promises I made to the great people of Idato.
A lot of a number of opposition parties in the House of Representatives. Are you meeting, or is it still a party and party basis at the moment, or is there something like a coalition?
Yes, right now it's a cross-party line. PDP, NMPP, Abuja, Labour, APC. The Joint Task Force have membership that is close to 200 now, cut across different political parties, and that is why they support to Tajuddin Abbas and Benjamin Kalu also cuts across party line. I think it's no longer being driven by party affiliation. It's being driven by a desire to have an all-inclusive leadership that will help us deliver on the promises we made to our people.
Where does the stance of your individual parties in terms of your ideologies, where does it stick here? Or as you have stepped into the chambers, you are no longer thinking of the party base before you take this decision?
Well, I think it's because of the inability of the individual political parties to have set agenda for their members at the beginning stage that made members themselves to use their own initiative to set agenda for themselves. Right now, no political party have given any for or against counter directive to members that are respecting the right of members to vote and freely vote and vote rightly. So right now there is no central directive from any of those political parties except the ruling APC that have the majority by virtue of their party.
Many thanks for being on Political Update. It is short, it's concise, but you've been able to make your point. We've been speaking with PDP's Ikenga Imo Ugochinyere Ikeagwono, member-elect of Idiato North and South Federal Constituency of Imo State. Thank you for joining us, and I hope that your plans and your hope to reconnect your locality with the national grid comes to pass, because it would not be nice not to have light at the same time to be using dark shade. You won't probably see much in that area. Thank you very much for being a part of it, and thank you for watching us also at home today. We'll be back on Tuesday for another episode of Political Updates. Keep on playing your politics for the greater good and keep it locked on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's finest and best for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.